My name is Karolin Krause. I was born and grew up in the north of Germany, in Hanover. During my sociology studies, we were really encouraged to learn statistics. At the time, everyone was worried sociologists would never find a job. Maybe that's still the case. But the antidote was to learn statistics. And it actually opened the door for me to do 2 years of work just following my undergrad degree here in Paris with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, where I worked as a policy analyst. And following that, I wanted to go back to university, do a master's, and I went to the London School of Economics for a master's in sociology. And after that, back into the private sector this time to work for 3 years in program evaluation in international development, mainly for the British government. So I worked in applied research in these different roles, but had not really gone to the end of being trained as a researcher, and really wanted to go back, learn some more about methods. And that brought me to University College London for a PhD in psychology this time, where I worked on the measurement of treatment outcomes. So essentially how we evaluate the effectiveness of different treatments for depression in young people, and carried on working on the same topic for my first postdoc at the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto in Canada, before coming to the CRESS in January 2023 to work at the methods team, essentially as a clinical epidemiologist. In my work here at the methods team, I focus on trying to advance the measurement of the psychosocial and contextual characteristics that patients bring when they participate in clinical trials, because these characteristics are likely to affect how they engage with treatment. For example, if they take medication regularly, or if they implement lifestyle recommendations as part of their treatment in their daily lives. And we know that there is quite a lot of variation, and we call this treatment effect heterogeneity, quite a lot of variation in how people respond to the same treatment. And we're currently not very good at explaining why there's such variation and who responds how to the treatment. And at the same time, there's a lot of fragmentation in what we measure about patients when they join a clinical trial. There's not at all a streamlined protocol for the types of characteristics that we capture. And so the work I'm doing here at the CRESS and at the methods team is to try and see how we could harmonize the kinds of characteristics that we measure and how we measure them in clinical trials. Working in partnership with patients is really something that is genuinely important across research projects that I think members of the team engage in. When we plan a research project, having them in the steering committee for a research project and consulting them throughout the process, and then also implicating them in how we share findings and communicate them back to patient communities so that they can make the most of these research findings too. To give you an example, at the methods team, Professor Titulaire and Professor Philippe Raveau have set up a big e-cohort of people living with a chronic condition in the community. Over 53,000 patients have signed up to this e-cohort COMPAR. And as part of that, there's a strong patient engagement element, and I think COMPAR is working with 56 or more different patient associations who are consulted and can steer us towards exploring research questions that are of interest to patients and thinking about how we use those findings and so on.